Hey everybody, and welcome to the 5 Bytes Podcast. I'm your host, Rory Monahan. The podcast is brought to you by Liquidware, creators of FlexApp, the most feature-rich application learning product on the market. Check out whatmatrix.com for a feature breakdown of all application learning products. And also by Goliath Technologies, who will be showcasing their Epic System Pulse integration next Tuesday on a webinar. Check out this link for episode 41 on 5bytespodcast.com to sign up. And now for this week's news. On last week's episode, I discussed how Windows 10 version 18.09, or the October update, had just gone GA. Later that evening, a story broke that some were reporting they had lost personal files such as their Documents folder's contents after updating to that release. Microsoft quickly removed the download for 18.09 while they scrambled to address the bug. Others reported a different issue, such as Edge being unable to load any sites and general network connectivity issues too. ZDNet has reported that at least the data deletion bug has been addressed with the updated release that has just come out. It has been suggested that the Edge and connectivity issues require IP version 6, which could be less than ideal in some sensitive environments where you typically disable that. Unfortunately, this is a black eye to the virtues spouted by Microsoft on the new release cadence and use of analytics plus various release rings to reduce the likelihood of major issues like this making it into official releases. Early reports suggested the data loss was pretty isolated to just a few users. Recently, WindowsLatest.com reported that 1/100th of 1% of version 18.09 installs suffered the data loss. Microsoft explains that the update deleted the files on certain PCs due to a bug that resides in known folder redirection feature. The folder redirection feature is basically supposed to redirect the folders such as desktop, documents, pictures, screenshots, and camera roll to a new location on your PC. The bug resulted in a weird issue where the files remained in the old location instead of being moved or redirected to the new location. If your files were deleted, stop using your device immediately to keep your chances of recovery high and call Microsoft for support. You can call them directly at 1-800-Microsoft. A week with a major negative for Microsoft has been somewhat countered by a major positive. On last week's podcast, I covered the fact that Microsoft published MS-DOS on GitHub. At Ignite, during the keynote, there was a segment on Microsoft joining the Open Invention Network, or OIN. This week, Microsoft announced it is now sharing its entire patent portfolio. It's very interesting. For a company known in the past for strong-arming competitors, this is a complete turnaround. With such a massive portfolio, this has the potential to encourage even greater innovation across the entire technology landscape. If you follow the podcast, you may recall I talked about a new company that had launched back in episode 1 called Computes. I also had the opportunity to interview the CEO of Computes with Jarian on the Frontline Chatter podcast. I had suggested listeners to follow the company since they're doing big things. Well, they just got acquired by MagicLeap. MagicLeap are a pretty young company in their own right, founded in 2010. If you browse on Reddit or any of the big tech outlets such as Ars Technica, TechCrunch, and others, you'll have no doubt seen MagicLeap mentioned before. They've had some pretty eye-catching videos of their augmented reality platform. Computes launched back in January of this year, so it's remarkable that they went from launching to getting acquired within just months. Best of luck to Chris Matthews and all from Computes. And now MagicLeap. FSLogix 2.9.4 has released with support for Microsoft Teams. While it doesn't appear there's an official statement to this effect, Renee Bigler has reported it works like a charm. Teams has been notoriously frustrating to deploy and support in enterprise environments, so this is a welcome development. The Windows Server team has published a blog post about the RDS role in Server 2019, with info on improved end-user experience, security, and simplified management. One of the greatest shortcomings of RDS in previous server releases, in my opinion, was the management tools. Server Manager just wasn't fit for purpose. I have not tried RDS in 2019 yet, but it would be interesting to see how scalable the management solution is now that Windows Admin Center has become an integral piece Greater management at scale would be a pretty big win for those organizations who don't have the budget for other third-party solutions and who are not the most creative when it comes to scripting. I'm looking forward to carving out some time to try it out. While Microsoft this week teased some of their beefy video performance in Azure as part of their game streaming xCloud announcement, NVIDIA provided some information on some of their own significant updates. Live migration with VMware vMotion should be coming in late fall, along with their NGC containers and multiple GPU support on a single Linux VM via KVM. They also announced that Volvo have selected NVIDIA Drive AGX to pilot their next generation production cars, among many other announcements at GTC Europe 2018 this week. Speaking of conferences, all sessions from Ignite have now been published on YouTube. I'll share a link on 5bytespodcast.com with this episode, which is episode 41, under links, and also in the YouTube description for this episode. Citrix have reported that the Windows 10 October 2018 update breaks single sign-on pass-through with the Workspace app as key registry settings get removed by the update. It also appears the UPM breaks. For a full list of known issues and solutions, check out CTX article 234973. Sticky Notes in Windows has received an update in Windows 10 1083 and later, with version 3.0 available right now. VMware Power CLI 11 has been released and supports vSphere 6.7 Update 1, Horizon View 7.6, and also comes with a new security module and more. Lenovo have claimed the top spot in the IDC traditional PC sales ranking for the third quarter of this year. Those based off traditional PC sales, Apple are also listed, and Apple claimed the fifth spot. Lenovo shifted HP from the top spot. It's worth noting the reason for the movement is because Lenovo completed their acquisition of Fujitsu's PC business, so their sales figures are combined for the first time. Interestingly, Gartner's report puts Microsoft in the top 5, whilst IDC's does not. It's interesting that, at least according to Gartner, Microsoft's own Surface business is pretty substantial now. One of the best app V tools, Application Virtualization Explorer 5.8 and libv611 are now available, with support for Windows 10 October 2018 update, ADKs, AppV packages, and some other updates and fixes too. And now for this episode's hot jobs. With Computes being acquired by MagicLeap, I couldn't help but fantasize and check out the careers page, and wow, they are hiring for a lot of positions. Most of the positions are in their headquarters in Plantation, Florida, but they also have jobs available in California, Texas, Washington State, and even other places, as well as Israel, so international too. They're looking for everything from a community customer care manager to infrastructure engineers, 3D generalists, vice presidents, and pretty much everything in between. So check those out. And now for this episode's scripts, tricks, and tips. The genius Helga Klein shared this great PowerPoint cheat sheet from indiezine.com this week with useful info such as using F6 to move between the slides pane, the slide area, and the notes pane. So no more fiddling about with your touchpad or mouse in the middle of a presentation. I'll throw in one other suggestion, one I always forget before presenting myself. Download Zoomit from the sysinternals tools, particularly if you're doing anything in a Windows command window or PowerShell window during a demo. Using the Zoomit tool to zoom in on what you've typed really helps the audience. And that's it for another episode. Thanks so much for listening.